Baseball used to have rules. Pitchers pitched, hitters hit. And if you were somehow capable of doing both, you were told to choose one anyway. Not because it was impossible in theory, but because no one in the modern era was built to survive both at the highest level. That was the assumption. That was the ceiling. Until Shohei Ohtani walked in and made the entire sport question whether that ceiling ever existed at all. There's a moment in sports where confusion turns into disbelief. It's not loud. It's not dramatic at first. It's quiet. A 100 miles per hour fastball, followed later by a 450-foot home run. From the same player, same game, different role, same dominance. At first, people don't react the way they should. They wait for the catch. They assume it's a hot streak, a novelty, something that will eventually correct itself. But it doesn't correct itself. It repeats. And slowly, baseball realizes the problem isn't that Shohei Ohtani is good. It's that there is no existing language to describe what he is. Because he isn't fitting into the sport, he's bending it. Before MLB, Ohtani was already rewriting expectations in Japan. In NPB, development is structured. Pitchers are protected assets. Hitters are specialized roles. Early separation is everything. But Ohtani kept refusing separation. He wasn't just throwing triple-digit fastballs as a teenager. He was also hitting like a middle-of-the-order power bat, at a level where most players spend their entire careers trying to master one skill. He was building two simultaneously. Even then, scouts didn't fully believe it would translate. The assumption was simple. MLB would force reality, pitch or hit, not both. But Ohtani didn't adjust to the system. He forced the system to adjust to him. From the moment he arrived, he wasn't a project. He was a disruption. As a pitcher, he had elite velocity, but his splitter wasn't just effective. It behaved like it violated timing itself. As a hitter, his power wasn't random strength. It was controlled violence, repeatable damage against elite pitching. And the most dangerous part, he didn't lose one skill to develop the other. He maintained both. That alone broke baseball's internal logic, because baseball is built on trade-offs. Ohtani didn't have one. There's a difference between hype and reality. Hype fades. Reality forces adjustment. Ohtani crossed that line through accumulation. Dominant pitching starts, MVP-level offensive production, games where he controlled both sides of the sport in the same night. At first, teams tried to separate his value. Two-way player, unique role, fun experiment. That stopped working quickly because he wasn't a novelty. He was an MVP-level pitcher and MVP-level hitter operating in the same season. That forced baseball into an uncomfortable position. Strategy stopped being stable. Every decision carried double consequences. Pitch to him, you risk a game-changing swing. Walk him, you give value to a pitcher still controlling the mound. Even bullpen usage started shifting around him. Because traditional matchup logic breaks when one player invalidates both halves of it. And then came the MVP season that removed all remaining doubt. Not just because he won, but because he did it while redefining what value even meant. That's the turning point. When the sport stops debating skill and starts recalculating value itself. At first, media coverage tried to simplify it. Dual threat, two-way star, modern Babe Ruth comparison. But none of those labels stuck. Because Babe Ruth eventually stopped pitching, Ohtani didn't. Analysts ran into the same problem teams did. There was no model for him. WAR calculations couldn't fully capture him cleanly. Contract value projections struggled because he wasn't one roster spot of production. He was two elite players occupying one uniform. Even broadcast language started changing, because every game he played felt like two games happening at once. A pitching performance worth headlines, and a hitting performance worth its own segment from the same athlete. Baseball wasn't just watching greatness, it was watching its evaluation system fail in real time. Ohtani is not just rare because of skill. He is rare because of tolerance under extreme dual demand. Pitching at MLB level alone is destructive. Hitting at MLB level alone is precision under chaos. Doing both requires two training systems, two recovery cycles, two mechanical identities, two mental frameworks under pressure. Most players can barely maintain one. Ohtani maintains both without collapsing either. But the deeper reason is mindset. Most players are developed into roles early. Pitcher or hitter becomes identity. Ohtani never fully accepted that separation. He didn't see roles, he saw baseball. That changes decision-making at the deepest level, because there's no internal conflict between what I am allowed to do. He already believes he can do everything required, and that belief removes limitations before they become performance issues. Ohtani didn't just change baseball. He exposed what baseball had stopped trying. Now, development pipelines quietly revisit two-way concepts that were abandoned for decades. Front offices have to account for value that doesn't fit models. Young players grow up with a different reference point for what is possible. But the deeper impact isn't structural, it's psychological. Because every time baseball sees something impressive now, it gets compared, directly or indirectly, to him. Not just skill, but scope. He didn't raise the ceiling. He revealed it was never fixed. Shohei Ohtani didn't break baseball by overpowering it. He broke it by expanding its imagination. He showed that specialization wasn't law. It was just habit, and habits can be rewritten. Now the sport can't fully return to what it was before him, because once a player proves that two elite careers can exist in one body, everything else starts to look smaller than it used to. And now, baseball doesn't just ask, how good is he? It asks something it never used to ask seriously. What else have we been wrong about? And that question is what changes the sport forever.